You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. And now, it's time for the show that breaks down the options market from unusual activity alerts to market analysis, strategy overviews, listener questions, and much more. If it involves puts and calls, then our all-star panel will break it down. It's time to hit the Option Block with your host, Mark Longo from the Options Insider Media Group, and co-hosts, Uncle Mike Tosaw from St. Charles Wealth Management, along with Mark the Greasy Meatball Sebastian and Andrew the Rock Lobster Giovinazzi from OptionPit.com. And now, get ready to hit the Option Block.
All right, everybody. That music means we are back once again. Time to commence yet another week of operations here on the network with a little bit of the option block, what the cool kids call the old OB. In fact, the network started early. If you're on the pro side, you already got on the pro feed the newest addition to the network. Hopefully you enjoyed the hot option report. If you haven't checked it out yet, it's waiting for you there on the pro podcast feed. Check it out if you want to, listeners. theoptionsinsider.com/pro is the place to go to get early access to all that kind of cool stuff over there. Our pro members are the ones who are the gatekeepers. They check it all out first, make sure it's all cool before it hits the rest of the network. For the rest of you, keep an eye and an ear out. The hot option report should be hitting for you for your inaugural episode a little bit later today. So it should be fun. The network, 18 plus years in, continuing to grow with 3 new shows in the last 6 plus, 8 plus months, whatever it's been. Wild times out there on the network. Thanks to all of you who keep driving this little engine that could, not so little anymore. We literally couldn't do it without all of you. And joining us on the old Monday program this week, once again, prepared to battle to the death for your trivia satisfaction. First, we have the uncleest of Mikes, Mr. Uncle Mike Tosaw from St. Charles Wealth Management, as well as by the rockingest of lobsters, Mr. Andrew Giovinazzi from OptionPit.com, who's apparently wearing a jacket. So apparently it's very cold on the shores of Maine. Maybe he's just keeping himself in fighting shape for the contest. We shall see. But now, gentlemen, prepare yourselves. Put your hands on the buzzers. The card is in hand. We are ready to go. It is time for the 80s Trivia Challenge. Here we go. All right. Get a little trivia music. Some non-licensed, completely generic trivia music going. All right, here we go. Oh, Uncle Mike, I guess you are allowed as our resident loser. You can make your call, even though I assume which way you're going to go, but never let me put words in your mouth. Which color are we going for this week, sir?
We'll stick with sports and leisure. Maybe I can make it 2 in a row. I mean, we are doing lowbrow stuff here. It's unsophisticated, and I protest it, but I will still help, just to help Andrew with the lowbrow stuff. It's non-pro wrestling.
Sports and leisure for 200, Alex. All right, here we go. Sports and leisure listeners, how many spaces are there on a Scrabble trademark crossword game board? So a Scrabble board, pretty much. Oh, we got a buzz. Buzz from Uncle Mike. Go for it, sir.
I will say 265.
Interesting. You know, I'm going to make this because it's hard to get the right one. I will make this a closest guess. Within reason. Within reason gets it. So I will say that is not correct. Mr. Rock Lobster, do you want to take an attempt to try to swing at this one? Well, you're muted, sir.
That's 2.5 penalty.
It took me a while. There's got to be some kind of odd number because you got that one weird thing in the middle. So
Interesting.
I'm gonna right. I think it's got to be, or I guess yeah, there could be an even number of rows. So 30 by times 30.
Time's up. Come on.
900.
Whoa.
Sounds high. I did 30 by times 30.
900. I was thinking 3 something, and that seemed kind of high to me. And then I was like, I was thinking there were 20 and then 20, but I was like, that's too many. So I had to dial it back. And then I went looking in here, and the actual answer is 225. So you know what? I will give it to Tosaw for being the closest.
Doing my Ric Flair strut.
1 point. Because it's hard to guess exactly 225.
I would have given him a half a point personally. But
Mike
that's okay.
for...
You were late. You took too long. I should be in the lead right now with everything.
30 by 30.
Scrabble.
I'm just trying to remember. Is it only 20 spaces? 20 by 20? Wow. 20 by 22. No, that can't be right.
225 is the answer, sir.
Doesn't sound like very many.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit more too, but that is our official trivia answers. That puts Uncle Mike at 1 more point, so he's gotten 2 points in the last 2 weeks. Mr. Rock Lobster, he's closing the gap. You got to turn it up as we turn it to 11 and head right on into the trading block.
It's time to break down the latest topics, trades, and trends in the world of options. It's time for the trading block.
All right, everybody, welcome to the trading block, the portion of the show where we break down what the heck is trading out there. Kicking off the trading week this week, listeners. It seemed like folks were a little bit skittish to kick the week off as well. Not surprising. We had more tariff threats being bandied about over the weekend. We hate Brazil again. We hate Canada again. I lose track of who else is on the tariff radar. Half of the EU. So it's on again, it's off again. Who knows out there? So the markets felt a little bit of the old spookage out there in the morning. Let's see, how low did the S&P get? 62.42. It's about 20 handles below where it is right now. As we're kicking off the show, it's back to pretty much unched, up about 0.05% to be precise. The NASDAQ up 0.17%. The Dow up about 0.1%. VIX cash hanging out right around a 17.25, which puts it up about 1.5 points from where it was this time last week. And vol itself, VVIX, at a good juicy 96 out there, up 4 points from where it was this time last week. And our point getter this week, Mr. Uncle Mike, even though I was generous, probably should have been half a point, but I'm feeling nice. I'm being respectable out there. Mr. Uncle Mike, sir, what's catching your eye in an interesting start to the week, sir?
Well, I mean, it feels good to be back in my rightful place of being the first one to talk on this show, even though it is still, Scrabble's okay, I guess. It's not quite as sophisticated as professional wrestling trivia by any means, but I guess we can accept Scrabble. Now, I heard that the world champion Scrabble player used to be a trader on the floor of the SIBO. Can you guys verify that, or have you heard that too? Or
I did remember a guy that he was a clerk at the time on the floor, and you could give him a bunch of letters and he could unscramble them and come up with words. Like, he was kind of a machine. So I met somebody of that caliber, but it was many, many, many moons ago. It was like 30 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I had heard. That someone had told me. The rumor that I heard around the Chicago option trading scene is that the world champion Scrabble player was a trader on the floor of the CBOE at one point. So
yeah,
I think I recall hearing something like that too. So if there's smoke, there's probably fire, Uncle Mike.
Good to know. Good to know. So anyway, in terms of some things with which I'm seeing in the marketplace today, we have all these things happening that Mark had mentioned in just a couple minutes ago. And we're still 23 points away from an all-time high in the marketplace. So that's always exciting. If for some reason we do go above the 6290 mark in the S&P, I'll be more than happy to come in like Kool-Aid Man again, like I did on the Thursday show, but not thinking that's going to happen on the show today. But it was exciting on the Thursday show to actually see it. As much as it pains me to admit it, we do have that cryptocurrency thing, Itcoin or Ipplecoin or whatever it's called, new all-time highs again. So we do have that. So I am saying that to appease the listeners from the from Twypo last week, but nonetheless, I still don't recognize it. It still doesn't really exist in my world. But anyway, it is making new all-time highs, so I will acknowledge that nonetheless. So we have that.
I'm glad to see you are acceding to their demands, sir. They just want you to be equal opportunity.
I'm a man of the people. I try and do it, even though I don't agree with the people. I represent the people. I represent the listeners. That's why, regardless of what happens in the trivia contest, I am the people's champ nonetheless. So, with that being said, we're having that. Banks are looking good right now. In particular, just looking at JP Morgan, that is still in the upper 200s. We might make a run at 300 for JP Morgan. That's something that has definitely been on a tear lately. So we have that. We have something there's good things happening overall in the market. Microsoft is holding the 500 level. It's always good and bullish for the market when you have behemoths like Microsoft going up significantly higher and making big rallies and big runs. It's difficult to hold the S&P down when you have a stock as large as Microsoft making the run with which it's had since late April. We were actually at, I'm just looking at the lows here of Microsoft. In late April, Microsoft was in the 350s. And so now it's at the 500 level. When you do the math on that, that's almost a 50% gain. I know it had pulled back a little bit from the previous all-time high at Microsoft was in the mid 455 or something like that. But the fact that we have a big move like that in something like Microsoft that quickly, it's very difficult to keep a stock market down when the behemoths are running like they are cheetahs, if you will. So that's what's happening. We had talked about this a little bit on the show on Thursday. Now might not be a bad time to consider taking something off the table in terms of maybe buying some index puts or something along those lines. The fact that you have markets that have gone up as fast as they have, as high as they have, and as recent as they have, and you have a VIX that's still in the 16s, it might not be something bad to consider if you don't have something in place already. With all of my clients that are in something hedged, we have their hedge stuff in place already. We're not a point to where we're looking to roll up the puts as of yet because they already were rolled up pretty high going into this. We had done some things with put spreads and some other things I've explained on other shows. But if you're not hedged, if you're nervous and you're thinking about dipping your toe into the option trading world, buying a protective put may not be a bad thing right now. Unless the market continues to go up, that's going to be an awful thing. But right now, the prices are not awful, in my opinion.
All right. And Mr. Rock Lobster, sir, same question for you. What is catching your eye out there in another topsy-turvy start to the trading week, sir?
It's funny because I bought some Microsoft on my nibble campaign in April when the market just goes totally into the can, and then I just start, I just buy decent stocks every week, not knowing where the bottom is going to be. I just make sure I add to my IRAs when, we're down like 20% or more. And I was looking at Microsoft today, same thing, $500. I'm like, dang, 10 times revenue, 10 times revenue. Like, how many years is it going to take Microsoft to make this? So, I don't know. Pretty expensive stock. Doesn't mean it can't get more expensive. Like, I kind of feel like I should just dump it and buy something. The Qs are back to 556. I think are we at all-time highs with those things? I'm going to say, dang, we might be very, very close. So it's clear that the market does not care anymore about the trade wars. The U.S. will start charging people tariffs. What they will be, basically, the U.S. had been out of the tariff game for 100 years. Probably since Smoot-Hawley when they attached this, and the kind of the post-World War II thing was the U.S. market was open, trying to get the world going again, and the world's going. The problem is the U.S. is running $1 trillion a year, $2 trillion a year deficit that they got to pay for. So apparently nobody likes to say no in Washington. So that's kind of what we got. And as far as like what's trading, yeah, we have the market is up. SPX is up 10 handles. It's less than 0.17%, and VIX is trading 17. So something is not right. So clearly stocks want to rally, but there is a layer of distrust because the U.S. is in another insane monetizing scheme by Congress. And when will it end? I don't know. But it has to end sometime, because if they print their way out of it, inflation will start to just, explode again. So I think there's one half of the market that sees AI growth and all this great stuff coming out of it on one end, and global growth in general. But two, you have basically, I don't know what you call Congress anymore. I don't think they provide any value. They disappeared and we just made the budget automatically balance, we'd be in better shape. But we're stuck with them. So, and I think that problem has not gone away, and that's why VIX is where it is and the market's where it is. But there's a lot to be bullish about as far as, how the economy works and all that kind of stuff. But the government's got to stop spending at some point. And I know we've been saying it for years. And every time there's a scare, stocks drop a lot, and then somehow the scare goes away. So I think at this point we wait till corporate earnings come out, which probably are going to be okay, because remember, in the first quarter, the earnings forecasts were terrible. They're like, oh, tariffs, we don't know what's going on. They put so much smoke out there that anything they come out with now, I think I think traders will like, to be quite honest. So anyway, and just lastly, but leastly, TKO. Although I did lose the wrestling trivia challenge, I did buy a bunch of TKO because I think that will be live action will be the future. So
look at you getting long wrestling and UFC, sir. What prompted that?
He's a true hedger right there. That is hedging at its finest right there.
My kids they do like mixed martial arts and stuff. And they do some that kind of boxing and all that kind of stuff, kickboxing and punch each other in the head. So and they like it. They're seeing it, and it's like fighting's ultimately like one guy wins unless the fight's fixed. But UFC, it looks pretty real to me. So anyway, that's what you got.
Yeah, TKO been on a good run. You see some of the ticket prices they charge for some of their events. You can see why their stock is up, about 23% so far year to date. The market's up, not 23% today, listeners. That'd be a banger. But are they hot and spicy out of the gate after kind of a weird mixed start? I guess we'll find out. VIX 479 on the tape, so looking kind of juicy again out there. The ADV is 782, so already well past halfway to that level. So that's already an impressive ADV for this time of the summer. And normally mid-July, listeners, this is not a hot time for VIX options. So ADV nearly 800K. You could tell we're in some rarefied times out here in the market. What's the big dog out there in VIX today? 39,000 of the July 26 calls. If you're curious what those are going up for, yeah, I said 26. Is it 26 going out by Wednesday? Spoiler alert, they're not going for much. They actually went for 6 cents. That sounds kind of rich, all things considered. But hey, maybe you like those bad boys. Maybe you want to take a fly. I think that's someone getting the hell out of Dodge and getting what they can left for their upside. Unless they're really convinced we're going to hit a 26 handle by the middle of the week. But either way, that's the big dog out there today, followed by number 2, the Rock Lobster's favorite, 32,000 of the 17 puts. Those trade pretty much every day like clockwork. And number 3, 30,000. If July's not doing it for you, want to go a little bit farther out. AUG 17 puts for number 3. So that 17 strike has been kind of the market leader for a while in terms of volume. That appears to be continuing today. Out there to SPY, is today a banger day in SPY land? Well, the answer is no. It's kind of about exactly what you'd expect. The ADV is 8.36 million. It's right around 4.1 million right now, so almost exactly halfway to its ADV. The S, same deal, 1.9 million on the tape. The ADV about 3.7 million out there. Small caps looking kind of like compared to where they usually are this time of the show. If you look at their ADV, they're pretty much right in line. Their ADV is 125, or I should say 1.25 million. And the right now they're at 631,000, so pretty much right in line there. And the Q's a little bit north of where we expect them this time of the show. We expect them around 2.25. They're right around 2.4 million on the tape in the Q's. The ADV, 3.65 million. All right, to single names we go, listeners. And is it a banger day out there in single name land? And the answer, I'm sad to say, is no. I just re-racked it right now just in case we managed to break 300K while I was talking. And the answer is no. 299 is where we're hanging out. It's what it costs you to break into the top 10 today. So that's north of our 250 threshold for respectability, listeners, but it's not exactly a banger. That gets us to the Amazonians. Again, number 10, 299 on the tape. 225 3/4, up about 3/4 of a buck today. So a little bit of a green day for the Amazonians at number 10. Number 9, this name continues to climb. It is SoFi, up 16 cents, or about 3/4%, trading 21.36 out there today. So they got as high as 21.43. So this SoFi, I mean, just over the last 5 days, it's up $1.50, nearly 8%. Over the past month, it's up 43.5%. My goodness, it was trading 14.43. I thought this one seemed like it was a lot lower not too long ago. Oh, here, finally someone came out and lowered their stock ratings. This thing's been getting upgrades for days. Now, JP Morgan and a few others downgrading it today. But you know what? The stock shrugging it off. They don't care. Number 9, SoFi, 328 on the tape. Have you been riding this SoFi ride of late, listeners? It's been quite the roller coaster, mostly up. Number 8, haven't seen this one on our list in a while. It's our old pal NIO. Going out to the realm of Chinese EVs, 406 today, up 15 cents, or about 4%. Let's see. How's this name looking year today? We haven't really checked in on them. I had the feeling it wasn't doing that great, and that is pretty much the case, off about half a buck, or about 11%. It got as high as, looks like, about 5.25 this year. That was back in March. And then during the great nadir, April 8th, it got down to 314. So it has rallied a buck from there if you want the glass half full version. The problem is it got there really quickly. On April 8th, got to 431. Then it kind of sold off again. It was trading 341 again just a week ago. So it's had a nice week out here. Headlines: lack of profit is concerning. Yeah, that would certainly be a concern. But also a 17.5% year-over-year rise in June vehicle sales. So there you go. Glass half full, glass half empty. Good to see NIO back on the list. Number 8, 345 on the tape. Number 7, AMD, 147. Excuse me, 147. Ooh. Still not 100% from last week, listen, but I'm at 93%. AMD, 146.83 coming in at the number 7 spot, listeners. 374 on the tape, up about 40 odd cents, or about 0.25% out there. Number 6, our old pal Mara. We were talking about them a lot on the old crypto show. Haven't talked about them in a little bit, but they're back in business. 1974, up 60 cents, or about 2.2%. Good for number 6 today, 401. You know, for a long time, Mara used to bounce between that 15 and 30 handle. It was one of the more reliable players in the game from a range-bound perspective. Then this tariff thing kind of just broke everything, and it got to 10.5 bucks, and it was languishing there for quite a while. It's like it's finally, it was even 14 bucks just a few weeks ago, and now it's back up to 19.5, so back above that 15 level. That was its floor for a long time. Number 6, Mara, 401. If you like M crypto-related names, how about number 5? The Monster is back, 472 on the tape for number 5. The Monster, 448.85. You know it's popping when Bitcoin's making a new all-time high, 14.25, up 3.25%. If you want more crypto talk, stay tuned. I'll be joined by our good buddy, Mr. Bill, in a little bit for the crypto rundown after this show, so we'll dive into all this fun. It is Crypto Week in Congress. One of the reasons why Bitcoin is hitting that new all-time high. So a lot to talk about out there. 448.5, up about 14 bucks, or 3.25%. For number 5, the Monster. Number 4, it's the Fruit Company, 487 on the tape. Taking a rare turn to the dark side again, off about 2 bucks, or about 1%, trading 209.25 today. So you know what, listeners? It just wants to get back to that par strike. It can't get away for too long. It misses it. Number 4, the Fruit Company, 487 on the tape. Number 3, it's Palantir. Man, popping hard today. 147.17, up 507 or 3.5% out there for Palantir. The Czech National Bank buys up pieces of Palantir, stock of Palantir. Well, there we go. If the Czechs are buying, we all have to buy. Number 3, Palantir. 501 on the tape. Number 2, is it Tesla? Is it Nvidia? What do you think? Drum roll, please. Yeah, it's Tesla. 315.84, up 2 1/3 or about 3/4%. Good for 966, so kind of a light day volume-wise for Tesla. That means the big dog is our old pal Nvidia, 165 1/4, up about 1/3 of a buck, putting up 1.42 million contracts on the tape. Let's get out here. Yeah, we're waiting, listeners. We're coming up to it in a couple of days. Not even a couple of days. Tomorrow, we're kicking off earnings season proper, as the Brits say out there. Tomorrow, we got JP Morgan Chase, Citi, Wells Fargo, BlackRock. If that's not enough financials to kick it off. And then Wednesday, we come back with J&J and United Airlines. And then we have PepsiCo on Thursday, IB, Abbott Labs, Netflix. So we're in it as of tomorrow. So I hope you enjoyed your respite, listeners, because we are back in business. But yeah, if you want to check out all the data, it's coming for you. We're going to start crunching the numbers yet again for free because we like you. The optionsinsider.com/pro is the place to go as we keep on going into a little bit of a segment we like to call around these parts, the Odd Block.
It's time to break down the most interesting, unusual, and downright questionable options activity that's been identified by theoptionsinsider.com. It's time for the Odd Block.
All right, looks like our live listeners are having fun. A lot of people chiming in. We got Queen Nichols, others saying they really very much enjoyed the Hot Options Report. Well, thank you. Thank you for enjoying the latest edition to the network. It's there waiting for you on the Pro podcast feed. We had some requests, looks like, to play it in between Option Block and the Crypto Rundown for those of you who missed it. You know, I think we can probably make that happen for you. So I think we can play that. So if you're hanging out in between the shows, we'll put that in there for you. A little bit of something fun to check out and nibble on out there. For the rest of you, got to be patient. It'll be hitting the main network feed later on today. But let's see. Speaking of things that are hitting, well, we're gonna save that one for a second because that's a hot one. That's a spicy one. That's one that's also going to be a subject of a fun little flash poll. But before we get there, before we hit you with the goods, let's give you a little bit of a tease. Let's go out to Equity Corp, a.k.a. EQT Corp. This is an energy company engaged in hydrocarbon exploration and pipeline transport. Everyone's favorite two sectors out there. Trading 57.60, up 2 1/4 or about 4% today. So a good day to be in the pipeline business, and also been a good year. You know what's been going on out there in crude of late. A year ago, it was 36.83. They sold it off August 5th of last year, the big meltdown. It got down to $30, pretty much exactly. Since then, it's been mostly upside. A few dalliances, but for the most part, it's been kind of hitting new highs every couple of months out here. It looks like it hit its high for the year, $61 pretty much. That was back on June 24th. So it has dipped a little bit since then. We all know a little bit of tumult going on of late in the crude markets. Got down to $54.50 before rallying again over the last week, back up to $57.50 roughly. Where we find it right now, what did our Eye of Sauron find out here in EQT? It's the AUG 60s. Someone came in this morning and said, AUG 60s, how are they? They got an interesting market, $1.59 at $1.71. Those are interesting prices. And paper said, you know what? $1.71, that's intriguing to me as well. I will pay $1.71, good sir. 4,767 times. The stock was about a dime lower, 57.46 when this trade went up. So not a huge move since then. Worth noting, they are getting earnings. Earnings are on July 22nd. So maybe that adds a little bit more fuel to the fire for you for this one. Mr. Rock Lobster, let's kick it off. EQT/equity. I like calling it that better. A little bit of hydrocarbon exploration. AUG 60s. Do these float your boat, sir?
This is a stock that I follow but have no position in. It's weird. I don't know why, but they seem like they like this particular natural gas company, and like a lot of gas properties don't have big valuations, but this one does. So I've never been able to figure out why the street likes this one more than others. Maybe it's their reserves. I'm not quite sure. But they like this one. So as far as these calls go, unless you're expecting some kind of squeeze in gas, it's a bold purchase. That's all I can say there. And it does look like they drew some line in the sand puts as well on the August 50s, which again, I think that's pretty bold. But they sold the August 50 puts at 55 cents, it looks like, or 56 cents. So I look at this and I'm like, they definitely think it's going up. Why they like this particular property over other gas properties, let's say like a DVN or something, which trades at a very low multiple, I don't know. I'm only assuming it has to be a huge stuff underground still that has not tapped, but they like it. As far as these calls go, somebody must know something. Maybe it's a buyout candidate. I'm not sure, but yeah, like DVN is a gas producer, oil and gas producer, has 3 times the revenue and trades at a discounted market cap. So again, I can't figure it out. I own DVN. I guess I own the wrong one. But it's a strange. It's the street's love for this stock is strange. Maybe the listeners have an idea of why they like EQT so much, but as far as these calls go, not my favorite thing here. Buying calls into this August 1st tariff deadline. It's usually that's kind of where stuff goes to die. Although the last cycle we rallied to all-time highs waiting for July 9th. So why not do it again?
Why not indeed? Well, speaking of names that we're doing it again in, brother, but this time we're going back a ways. We're dialing back the Wayback Machine for this one, listeners. This is the name we haven't talked about in forever out there, and it probably would help if I typed in the right ticker. It's been so long. There we go. Yes. Yes. Remember this one, listeners? We're going back a ways to the halcyon days of film. Yeah, it's our old pal Eastman Kodak. Ticker symbol Kodak. Kodk. Man, have not talked about this name in forever. Are they back? I guess we'll find out, listeners. Looks like they're having a good day today. $7.40, up 70 cents or 10.5%. So apparently all things film are hot again. Didn't this name pivot like 7 times since they got out of the film business? But so let's see. 740, having a good day out there today. Let's see. On the year, it's been an interesting one. 5 3/4 a year ago. So they're up $1.65 or about 28%. Good year for them. They ended up drifting down to $4.50. Actually, looks like 4.25 after the election, which is kind of weird. November 15th is where they bottomed out. A lot of names were rallying then. They bottomed out. Then they shot up. December 2nd, they got up to 7.25, kind of where they are right now. Then they shot up to 8.25 on February 6th. That was their high for the year. Then they took a drubbing. April 4th back to 530. Even by June 30th, they were still at 565. So in the last less than a month, about 2.5 weeks or so, they've had a nice run from 565 all the way up to 740. Yeah, in the last month, they're up 26.5% just in the last month. So this thing popping hard out here. Listen, I'm just trying to see what target of unusually high options trading. Yeah, you could say that. I'm just looking to see what is going on out here, listeners. They expanded into the pharmaceutical sector. Well, there we go. Either way, listeners, somebody is reaching for the stars out here in Kodak today, listeners. Somebody came in this morning, the stock $6.79, so a wee bit below where it's trading right now, listeners, 742. And they said, you know what? September, we're going out a little ways. Buy ourselves some time. 12 halves. How are those bad boys looking? And they got no bid at 15 cents, as you would expect for a pretty far out of the money call like that. Stock has to pretty much double, listeners. And they said, you know what, good sirs or madam, I will pay 15 cents 2,510 times. That follows them paying 12.8 cents 2,255 times. And they've been putting up blocks and blocks and blocks all day. A total of 21,000 for looks like prices around 15 cents out there. So somebody clearly has an axe to grind. Yes, 12 and a half strike, listeners. The highest it's got over the past year was 8.25. If you want to get a 12 handle in Kodak, you got to go. I don't know if this print is even real. It's so weird. It's gapped up in July of 2020 from $2 up to $21 in July of 2020. And then by August, it was back down to $8.50. I don't know if that brief dalliance with a 20 handle is just a bad print or what, but that's really, you got to go all that far back. September of 2020, it was $12.11. That's the last time we even sniffed a 12 handle, listener. So this is some rarefied air for somebody picking these bad boys up. Mr. Rock Lobster, sir, first off, when is the last time we talked about Kodak? It's been years. And then B, answer the question everyone has, sir. Is Kodak back?
Let's see. No. Maybe. Does Kodak still have, does it have revenue? Like, does anybody actually buy film for a camera anymore? Is that real? Or are they just, okay.
There's some hardcores out there, but I don't think it's a meaningful segment anymore.
I think because remember, they used to be a nifty 50 company.
They were.
I mean, it does have they've got earnings. I think they do a lot of like photochemical stuff and things like that, and digital imaging, and so I mean they're still kicking around. So I mean they could have some possibilities. They still do some print and all there is whatever, but clearly, obviously, digital and cameras changed that whole thing. But wasn't this like a big squeezy stock for a while, Mark, as I recall?
It was pretty memey. I'm looking here. It says they continue to produce film, but their primary business now lies in commercial printing, advanced materials, whatever that is, and chemicals, and licensing their brand. So they're one of those. They slap a Kodak on whatever they can. They also have a pharmaceutical division established with a government loan focusing on producing ingredients for generic drugs.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, it was $60 like in 2020. Like the end of 2020, there was a squeeze or something.
That's right. They got money during COVID to spin up a pharmaceutical division. How wild is that?
Right. So I guess like can anybody come up with a drug for this thing? Or you could just go home and wait 6 days.
At least you could argue they have some chemical wherewithal, I guess, if you want to really stretch.
Yeah. I mean, clearly, all that chemical film stuff. Yeah, there's probably some value in there. Again, September 12 calls for 15 cents. If there's like some kind of secret mojo going on, I could see it. It could happen, but man, like you got to think some magic is happening for Kodak. What's trading? $7? So you got to think the magic's back. That's all I got to say. Like nifty 50ville, which I don't. Again, it's hard to tell with a company like what are they doing, right? So that is a surprise. But 21,000 is not small.
21,000. They're not playing games.
Something's happening.
Well, we thought this one was so weird, Mr. Rocklops. We thought we'd put it out to our audience, see what they had to say. Is Kodak back? We said, hey, 21,000, SEP 12 halves trading today for prices around 15 cents. That price, are you a buyer? Are you sold to you? Are you going to sell it maybe as part of a covered call or a vertical? Or are you just like, what the hell is Kodak? And right now, Mr. Rock Lobster, 80% of our audience wants to pay 15 cents for the privilege of owning the SEP 12 halves. Wow.
Well, they're trading 30.
Yeah, I guess by that perspective, they're looking better.
So, I mean, by that rule, but somebody thinks something's going to happen.
10% want to sell them straight up, and 10% are saying, what the hell is Kodak? No sellers as a covered call or as a vertical. I got a feeling somebody would hit that bid as a seller of a covered call and probably be pretty happy to do it. Wow. All right. Kodak. Is Kodak back, listeners? Are you back in on COVID? Are you back in on Kodak? Are you buying what this stock and these calls are selling? I don't know. That one leapt off the screen to me today, Mr. Rock Lobster. I haven't talked Kodak in forever. Kind of feels good. It kind of warms the old cockles again, Mr. Rock Lobster. Even though this name is a distant shadow of what it used to be, it now makes drugs and everything else. But still, just kind of wild to see Kodak coming across my tickers again, listeners. Let's keep going. Let's keep things old school, shall we? Let's go out to Campbell's Co. Ticker symbol CPB. You know them. Maybe you love them. They make all your delicious canned soups. $30.70, off about half a buck, or about 1 3/4% today. On the year, it's been a rough year for canned soups. Off about $15, or about 33%. My goodness. Nobody's buying canned soup anymore? What's going on with the canned soup glut? My goodness. Taking it on the chin. But you know what, Mr. Rock Lobster? Looks like maybe the Eye of Sauron is coming in to the rescue. It's spotted today. Somebody coming in this morning saying, you know what? I think this sell-off is madness. July 31 halves expiring on the 25th. How are they? They got 50 cents at 65. They said, I'll pretty much pay 65 cents. 1,968 times, Mr. Rock Lobster. So they're looking for a little bit of an aggressive turnaround here in canned soup over the next 11 days. Mr. Rock Lobster, what's going on? It's been a bloodbath for canned soup, sir.
Have you had... I can't remember the last time I had... Oh, they sell goldfish, though. They sell Cape Cod chips. They sell Rouse, Pragos, Schneiders. Ooh, those are tasty ones.
Oh, Rouse. That's some premium sauce there. They got like $8 a jar.
Yeah, they definitely got their sales. Interesting. Let me see here. I guess people want them again, huh? 31.5 calls. I think they're... I'm just looking right now. I mean, I'd say that those calls have a shot. I mean, easily, because it was just trading 31.5. I don't think they're a bad purchase on a bounce. Wow, the soup is not good food this year, though, from $50 to $30. So, I don't know. When I walk around the airport, I think a lot of people are eating snacks and salty soup. But yeah, it's I don't know, kind of an interesting little bounce play there. I'd like to see if there's any more accumulation in this one. I'm going to actually add it to the list.
Looks like here people are speculating a lot of institutions hold this name, and the recent sell-off might cause some shakeup with the institutions. Maybe somebody is betting on that happening very soon in the next 2 weeks. So we'll keep an eye on Campbell's Soup, listeners. As it is Monday, it's time to keep an ear on Uncle Mike. A little bit of the old strategy block.
It's time to dispense options, wit, wisdom, and education. It's time for the Strategy Block.
All right, Uncle Mike, what you got for us this week, sir?
Let's talk about some volatility. So what I want to go through is that some people feel that it's always good to trade vertical call spreads or put spreads. Some people are more comfortable with horizontal, aka calendar call spreads or put spreads. I want to give you my take on it. And I think this is important just to have an idea of it, of what can work with it. First off, I want to quote our late great friend, the Viceroy. Volatility is only high if you think it's high, and volatility is low only if you think it's low. So in other words, when you hear people say, oh, volatility is high right now, referring to the VIX, implied volatility, whatever measurement what you want to use, it doesn't necessarily mean it actually is high. If the VIX is at 25, you could say it's high. But if it's going to go to, if God were to tell me it's going to go to 40 the next day, then no, 25 is not high, 25 would be low. So have the understanding that you have to make your own determination of is volatility high or low. The same way with the stock. Some people might think that Microsoft is high right now because it's above 500. Some people might think it's low right now because of the fact that they think it's going to go to 600 or 700. Who knows? So number one, make your own determination of volatility. But if you feel that volatility is high, or if I feel that volatility is high, I should say, I typically tend to lean more on vertical spreads, whether I'm looking to be bullish, bearish, or whatever. And the reason is that by using a vertical spread, meaning I'm going to buy a call option 2 months out at the 50 level, and I'm going to sell one 2 months out at the 55 level on XYZ stock, let's say. The reason that I like that is that if I'm planning to base my trade on the movement of the underlying, if volatility goes significantly higher, well, it's going to be kind of vol neutral for the most part. If volatility goes significantly lower, it's going to be kind of vol neutral with where I'm going on it, because of the fact that if volatility goes lower, then yes, the long call option would go lower, or that would be a factor against the long call option, but the short call option would help me out with that regard. Now, if I feel that volatility is lower, I typically tend to want to go more towards diagonals or horizontal spreads, whether I'm bullish, bearish, neutral, whatever. And the reason is that if volatility is lower, let's say that volatility does go higher after a few weeks. Well, with that happening, the near-term option that I sell will actually go against me, but that option is going to be going away soon. And on top of that, theta, time decay, is going to be working in my favor to kind of balance that out. So long story short, a way with which I do it, if I feel that volatility is higher, then I typically tend to lean onto more vertical spreads. If I feel that volatility is lower, then I tend to lean more onto horizontal or diagonals. And that is the strategy block for the day.
All right, listeners, now we'll keep on going and go around the block.
It's time to tell you what we'll be watching on our trading screens until the next episode. It's time for Around the Block.
All right, listeners, really quickly, let's run through some of our questions of the week here before we get to what everyone's keeping an eye on. We asked you last week which asset class has the most upside as we head into the second half of 2025. Ended up 45.8% of you going the old standby route of equities, 31.3% said gold or metals, 14.6% going fixed income, and 8.3% going for other, a lot of write-ins for a variety of things. Small caps, crypto, private equity, all kinds of fun stuff out there. But yes, you folks chose equities. We left crypto off the list last week, but not this week, listeners. Like I mentioned, it is crypto week in Congress. On top of that, Bitcoin just hitting a new all-time high. Those two things are not unrelated. Which raises the question, once again, which crypto asset do you think has the most upside potential in the second half of 2025? We'll obviously dig into this a little bit more coming up on the crypto rundown. I gave you the top three choices, Solana, Bitcoin, and ETH, and then the infamous other out there. Mr. Uncle Mike, what are your thoughts on equities winning our asset class poll from last week? I won't make you guess on the crypto front unless you want to make a guess as to which way our audience is going. And then B, what are you keeping an eye on until our next episode, sir?
Well, I think it's ironic that even though it's crypto week in Congress, isn't it also Shark Week on the History Channel too, to add to all the excitement?
Double fun.
No kidding. Well, I mean, for crypto, I'll go with Shiba Inu. I mean, that's my all-time favorite crypto. You got to go with that. I think we have that in terms of equities winning the battle. I think that's important because equities are they are going to win, in my opinion. That's the best asset class in the history of all of major asset classes. In terms of some things of which I'm watching, in addition to social media from the leader of the free world, our beloved president, watching to see if we can make new all-time highs in stocks, of course, but also continue to keep an eye on silver. We're at the highest levels now that we have been in silver since February of 2012. So we might make a run soon. So continuing to watch this, the most disappointing collar content strategy in the history of our show, but at least it's making money. So that's the good thing.
Mr. Rock Lobster, same question for you, sir. Are you surprised that our audience, about half of them, went for equities as the asset class with the most upside last week? This week, fast forward into the crypto realm. If you have a vote, Solana, Bitcoin or ETH, which one's got the most upside for the second half of the year? Which way do you think our audience is going? And then C, what are you keeping an eye on till our next episode?
Don't they like Ethereum? Is that the one? Is that the one that people like?
It's had a nice couple of weeks out here. It's had a terrible year and a half, but a good couple of weeks.
Again, I don't understand anything about the Bitcoins, and I'm glad people like them. I don't get it. But just old. Sometimes old people don't get stuff. Yeah. So I think they're thinking maybe the Ethereum theme. Bitcoin's like, I don't know, 100,000. That's pretty crazy. Anyway, what's going on? August 1st, new trade stuff. July 29th and 30th, the Fed is going to tell us they're not raising rates or lowering rates. And we've got earnings all week. So I think, you know what? I think as go bank earnings, so does the market. And the banks have been actually turning out pretty good earnings for a couple of years now. So as long as banks are making money, the market usually goes up. So that is a good bellwether for you. Just saying here. Although VIX staying at 17 is still somewhat troublesome because it should probably be about 13 or 14 at this point, the way the market's been moving.
All right, that music means we're done with the movement on this show. Let's check in really quickly what you folks have to say so far this week. Like we said, 75% of you want to buy those Kodak calls, which is wild. 16.7% saying, what the hell is Kodak? 8.3% saying sold to you. And then in terms of the crypto assets, we got a decent split. 46.7% going the Bitcoin route. And then about 26.7% each for Solana and ETH. No others flying in yet. Where's your Trons? Where's your Cardanos and your Doges? And Uncle Mike's favorite Shiba Inu. No votes for them yet. This went live right as the show started. That will be our question of the week. We'll be diving into more of that and a little bit on the crypto rundown, so stay tuned. But before we go around the horn, we go. Uncle Mike, if folks want to chat with you, where should they go? What should they do?
stcharleswealth.com. Book an appointment with me. I'd love to have a conversation with any of our audience members if you're looking for a financial advisor who understands options.
All right, and Mr. Rock Lobster, same question for you, sir. Where should they go if they want more Rock Lobster goodness?
888-TRADE-01. Call us up. Hey, you want to learn how to trade these options? I trade all the options that I recommend. I just trade them. My students watch me. They do them if they want to. They do or they don't. Basically, anything you want to learn about trading options, not everything, but we certainly do soup to nuts there at Option Pit, so check it out.
Soup to nuts and even a post-dinner aperitif. You get it all. OptionPit.com to learn more. We'll be back in a little bit with our good buddy, Mr. Bill, to talk all things Crypto Week. You know he's going to be hot and bothered on Crypto Week, so he's a good one to have joining us. We'll talk all the wildness, the weirdness. There's so much options stuff going on now around the crypto realm as well, whether it's your iBits or pick your poison out there, MSTUs. So many names putting up paper that are all crypto related. A lot of hot action to get to. We'll get to that in a little bit. If you're hanging out in the live, we will put in the newest addition to the network, the Hot Options Report, for your enjoyment in between. And we'll be back again in a little bit for the crypto rundown, listeners. No European market brief this week, but we will be back with a great pro Q&A with none other than the last emperor himself, Mr. Constantine Vrandopoulos from Fidelity tomorrow. So rolling back out the pro Q&A hot seat. A Wednesday, of course, double duty on OBC as well as the futures rundown. Then we're back again on Thursday, Flowmaster in hand, another episode of the Option Block. Stay safe out there, everybody.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.